Hello and welcome to Smartkarma's corporate webinar. I'm Sanam Manwani from Smartkarma. This week, we are hosting China Shenshan Orchard, and we are glad to have with us Executive Director David Zhao and Financial Controller Raymond Ho. We will start the webinar with David walking us through a company presentation, after which he and Raymond will engage in a fireside chat with Smartkarma insight provider Angus Mackintosh. We are taking live Q&A, so I would like to request our attendees to post your questions in the Q&A tab at the bottom of your screen. During the webinar, I will also share some links on how you can connect with China Shenshan Orchard and read more research by Angus. So please keep a lookout for messages in the chat box. I now hand it over to David to walk us through a short company presentation. David, please.
Okay, thank you for introducing me. And first of all, I would like to share with you a company's video to let you have some of the basic information of my company. And then I will go to the PowerPoint slides introduction. Thank you.
这里海拔1500米，属于亚热带海洋季风气候，四季分明，雨量充沛，日照充分。深山之中，植被与药材同生，山水之间，自然与生态和谐。每一棵猕猴桃都有它的生长源头，它们的种子从森林、草木、土壤、雨水、阳光中而来，需要人们翻山越岭的跋涉，年复一年的寻找，才能发现它们。一款优质猕猴桃的诞生，从选种开始，就是神山新农人用脚步丈量出来的。
收集这些育种资源只是第一步，我们带回去后，怎么样将这些从外地迁移过来的种子资源带回神山果园里落地生根，筛选培育出更优质的品种，这才是难事。
每个区域的地理和气候条件都不同，猕猴桃也是性格各异，有的种属喜冷，有的则爱热。要驯化它们适应赤壁的地理和气候，在果园里存活下来，陈奇和同事们没少下功夫。
一般我们要先经过2到3年的品种比较试验，筛选出好的品系，然后我们才扩大种植，再经过2到3年的中间型试验，这之后呢，我们才会推广到大田进行趋势，让它接受更多的大自然考验。经过前面2轮试验后呢，我们把品种最终确定下来，还会再次扩大试验面积，整个流程下来，顺利的话最少也要6到8年。
从深山老林到百姓餐桌，神山果园里的每颗优质果实，都意味着6年以上的孕育时光。我们始终用敬畏自然之心，去坚守品质，才能成就舌尖的每一口滋味都是18度的甜。作为中国最大的猕猴桃企业之一，神山新农通过建立科学规范的产业体系，打造了一批具有国际竞争力的现代化水果生产基地，成为全国的产业龙头和行业名片。我们无比重视食品安全问题，严格按照绿色食品 A 级标准进行种植生产，保证每一颗果子均可溯源。
猕猴桃是来自大自然的馈赠，我们想用神山新农人最真诚的行动和对品质的坚守，将这一份甜蜜滋味送给每一个珍贵的你。
Hello? Yes, good afternoon. My name is David Zhao, and I'm the Executive Director of China Shenshan Orchard. I'm very happy to take this opportunity to present you our company, a leading kiwi fruit producer in China. China Shenshan is located at Chibi, Hubei province, which is in the central part of China. Chibi has been very well known for the famous ancient battlefield of the Three Kingdoms almost 2,000 years ago in ancient China's history. And now Chibi is also very well-known kiwi fruit plantation area. Chibi's unique climate and land conditions are very suitable for kiwi growing, and it has become one of the major kiwi plantation areas in China. We are the largest kiwi producer in China and have 9 orchards in different locations in Chibi, with a land of more than 10,000 mu. We have a complete end-to-end value chain from variety development to sales and marketing through our nationwide distribution network. Here, I would like to emphasize our in-house R&D capabilities that differentiates us from competitors in China. By teaming up with China's top-tier kiwi experts, our R&D center has been developing our own kiwi varieties. Up to now, we own 6 premium plant varieties and 5 pending for approval. Our production of kiwi fruit comes from the varieties developed by ourselves. Xianwo series is our self-developed variety. Its quality can be comparable with Zaspers in terms of fruit size and sweetness. In addition, our orchard infrastructure standard is very high. For example, our orchards adopt a fertilizer and water integrated system, which greatly improve production level. We also use a QR code to manage kiwi tree growth. If you have a chance to visit our orchard someday, you may use your mobile phone to scan the QR code to check every tree's status and get the information immediately. By doing so, we are able to collect data to control and manage the entire kiwi fruit cultivation process, as well as monitor the overall process and the performance of trees. We have 30 years of experience in operating kiwi plantation business. From a financial point of view, company's production volume, annual revenues, and the profit margins have been growing fast. Last year, production volume reached 38,000 tons and sales revenue 111 million RMB. The gross and the net profit margin has been growing steady to reach 95% and 63.1% respectively. The financial data shows that kiwi plantation as a business in China can be very profitable if you do it right. Next, I'm going to talk about China's kiwi industry and conclude our next approach to becoming China's Zasper. Based on the data that we have collected and our observation on China's kiwi market for a decade, we believe that China has become the largest kiwi fruit producer in the world. Kiwi fruit industry in China is growing rapidly, and there is still huge room for growth over the next decades as the Chinese consumers have become more affluent. Import value is increasing significantly over the years. This shows that there is a command in pricing as demand is high for premium kiwi fruits. On the other hand, kiwi fruit industry in China is highly fragmented, as most of the kiwi fruits are produced by household farmers and small kiwi plantation firms. They have little premium varieties with no branding. The lack of standards, technological knowledge, systematic management methods, and distribution channels. So they can produce a lot, but they could not sell them a lot. So here comes our next approach to expand our business. We will provide our premium varieties by licensing to small household farmers and allowing them to grow our variety free of charge. When the harvest season comes, we will acquire the qualified kiwi from the growers at an agreed price, which is higher than the average. Then we will do the rest of the work that the small household farmers hardly can. We will be responsible for auto assembling, sorting, packing, and sell them through our existing distribution channels with company's brand. By doing so, we could expand our production volume rapidly without purchasing additional lands by ourselves, which is very expensive and difficult to do in China. In summary, we are going to adopt two-pronged strategy. One way is that we will focus on growing our own kiwi fruits. We remain committed to our R&D, enhance orchards infrastructures, and set up a good example to household farmers who are interested in our licensing model. In addition, we will license our premium varieties to household farmers and small plantation firms to allow them grow our own varieties. We will also provide kiwi plantation technologies, management methods to help them to achieve good harvest each year. We estimate both our production volume and sales revenues can be doubled within 5 years. And that's all for my presentation today. Thank you. We are open for a Q&A section. Feel free to ask me any questions. Thank you.
David, yeah, thank you very much for the presentation. Very interesting, and your plantations certainly look very bountiful. I've never seen so many kiwi fruit on a tree. So that was interesting just to see that and get a glimpse as to how you procure your varieties and wandering the forests to find new varieties. I mean, that's very interesting.
Thank you.
Well, why don't I sort of start off with a question, just a very basic one for people who haven't come across the company before, just to give us an idea of the history. How have you got to the stage you've got to, right now? Because obviously it's a big operation already, and
right.
It's been developed over a number of years. But just a little bit of history would be great to start with.
You mean company's history during the years?
Yeah.
Yes. The initial idea is that we look at the kiwi fruit as a premium fruit in Chinese market, and we believe that will have very good future. Okay, that's the basic idea. We believe that because our management team has many years of the distribution and retailing experience. We can sense that. We have seen a lot of good stories and good companies are doing this business right now. Especially we look at the Zespri, which is New Zealand companies. They can sell the kiwi fruit in China very well, and the price is very demanding and increasing rapidly. And we see that it's a very profitable business to do. And then we got the chance in 2009. We have cooperated with the Chibi local government. They have land, but they do not have system of management company to run that business. So with the local government's help, and we was able to collect a lot of lands in Chibi. So that's accumulated to 10,000 mu right now. So the size of all orchards in China right now definitely is the number one, which we mean that we are the biggest producer in China. That's good. And during the 13 years we have been operating this business, we did learned a lot of things from the beginning. First of all, we very focused on the R&D capabilities. Okay, from the beginning, we believe that the good variety is the it's a start for everything. So we needed to have this kind of good varieties. And during that years, we have been operating our business. We put a lot of efforts, okay, and to do the R&D work so that we can have a very good variety that is comparable with Zaspris fruit. And we, from a lot of years past, we learned how to manage the orchards well. We also learned a lot of we send our employees to New Zealand to learn their technologies, to see what they do their business. So, and we accumulated that is kind of knowledge by our company, and we set up the business year by year, and now we reaches the pretty good level in China.
Right, very interesting. I mean, I guess that must be one of your major advantages is to be producing the best varieties.
That's right.
Which I guess cater to local tastes. Because I understand that the population in China prefer a much sweeter variety of kiwi.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, because obviously you can stand out by doing that, producing bigger, more consistent sized fruit.
Right.
But is there a lot of competition locally, and would you say that the main competitor for you at your level would be imports?
That's right. Our level, we set a very high level from the beginning, because as in China, it's easy to cultivate or to plant, to have kiwi fruit. But if you want to do the premium one, we see only the premium one can make money. If that is a low-end kiwi fruit, the price and the demand is not that good. So from the beginning, we just look at the premium one. The premium one is our goal. We are not going to do any low-end varieties. So so there's a lot of work we have learned, and we also utilize some we call that outside experts. We team up with the top tier agriculture and the kiwi experts in China, and they gave us a lot of good advice, and we learned how to do that well in China, and we only keep the premium kiwi fruits in China.
Right, and you mentioned obviously that there's a licensing process for
that's right.
Each variety, and that I guess that in China that would be very strict. So you don't have any danger of someone else coming in and basically taking your variety and using it without your permission. Is it right? I mean, it's quite a well laid out and well regulated market, is it?
Right. Well, the reason we want to adopt this strategy, we call that licensing strategy, for a number of reasons. Reason one is that in China, if you want to expand your plantation lands, that is very expensive, and it's also very hard to do. A lot of process things, a lot of legal issues there. You cannot just purchase lands by yourself to boom up your production volume. So you need to think of other ways to do that. The way we think that is feasible to do that is to use our licensing models, because we see what the others, which means the household farmers, what they lack. They do not have good varieties to grow, and they barely have some management methods to maintain good harvest every year. So they need this kind of thing, and we have this kind of thing. So we want to share with them, and we can we can cooperate together, and that is a win-win situation. One way is that we can expand our production volume without purchasing land, which is very hard to do. And another one is that for the from the small household farmers' point of view, they can have good varieties free of charge, right? Because for the household farmers, they do not have money, to buy your variety or to have your permission. That's very costly to them, and they can use our varieties free of charge. And we promise, as the harvest season comes, we can acquire the qualified kiwi to us, and then we will do the rest of the things. So we see that's the strategy as a win-win situation, and so that's why we believe that it can last long.
Right. I mean, I had a question on that, because obviously, if your farms, I understand are quite highly mechanized and very modern in terms of the way you distribute fertilizers and control pests and that kind of thing. So that's obviously, we have a big advantage in producing a very consistent fruit. If you're licensing to other farmers, how do you control the quality? Do you provide them with fertilizer and that kind of thing?
Yes. To control the qualities, we have to do a lot of work. Okay. First of all, we need to let the household farmers to learn how to do that right. Okay. From the beginning, we will have some we call the technology seminars. And we'll also send our R&D employees and our technical staff, to visit their lands, to tell them how to do. That is which way is the right way to do, which way is the wrong way to do. A lot of communication have to be there. So by doing so, we can ensure the quality of the other farmers, is okay. It's okay. It's acceptable, and we only acquire the qualified kiwi fruit at the premium price. So that is also very attractive to those small household farmers.
No, that's right. I mean, I'm sure that you're effectively improving their ability to earn by providing with which is a very good thing. So, and I mean, are pesticides and fertilizers very important in the process for kiwi, or do they require a lot of help to get to a certain standard? That's
related to the cost for the household farmers. If the household farmers to use our licensing business, they do not need to invest a lot. They do not need, because they have lands already there. They also, in the past, they also do the kiwi plantation, but not the good ones. But right now they just change the varieties, and that's the free of charge. And they do not need to worry about the selling problems, because the only work they do is just to have the good varieties and sell to us. And we promise we can use that higher than average price to acquire them. So that's those farmers do not need to worry about how to sell them well. They only need to worry is that they needed to have this good harvest. That is the only thing they need to worry. Right.
No, very interesting. We've got some questions coming in. I'll just
okay.
I'll give you one of them, which is, what do you think your edge is over competitors? Which I think you've covered, but.
What do you think your edge over your competitors? Okay, if you see our competitors are those low-end kiwis, we do not think they are our competitors, because we are, or kiwis, are not at the same qualities. We see our biggest challenge or biggest competitors actually come from the overseas. For example, come from New Zealand, Zaspers, or some the amount is not very big, but some of the from Italians. Okay, their quality are comparable with ours. So we see them are our competitors, not those the low end varieties.
And do you have a price advantage over imports? I mean, can you sell your kiwis at a?
Yes. We our price is smaller, slightly lower than Raspberries. Yeah.
Okay.
But comparable. Comparable.
And actually, before we move on, there's another question here which is linked, which is, any future plans to export your products? I mean, I guess that China is such a big market.
Right. For the export, business, right now we are trying to do that, but we see within 5 years, the Chinese market is big enough for us to grow, and so within 5 years, we will still focus on our domestic market, which means we will do that the primarily in China, not overseas market.
Right. No, very interesting. I mean, I can see that it's still a huge market. And what are your own expansion plans? You've talked about the licensing expansion, which is very interesting. What portion of production do you think will come from those type of sources? And how much room do you have to expand your own plantation area? I understand you've used about 70% of the land that you have. There's still more, but is that all sort of suitable for expansion or not?
Right. To do the business of the kiwi plantation, you have to have patience, because during the first 2 and 3 years, there's no production, because you have to wait for the baby tree to grow to mature, and after at the third year, you can expect some production from the trees. So that's very critical for us, to do that work well in the first 2 or 3 years, because in that 2 or 3 years, we need to promote our new strategy to a lot of our small household farmers, and to do a lot of work, team up with them together, and right. We expect within 5 years. Which means we can expect, some very good productions from the small household farmers. They have a lot of land. They have a lot of huge land. So we see they have some intentions, to do that. If we can do that well, we expect we can double our current production level, within 5 years. That's our plan.
Right. So effectively, in 5 years' time, it could be
5 years
an even split between the licensed kiwis and your own production.
That's correct.
Yeah. And would there be any difference in the kind of margin you could achieve with each one of those?
We see that is the product margin is almost is similar.
Right.
They're similar. Okay. Because because if we use the licensing models, we saved a lot of energies of efforts. We also saved some investment for planting those for planting the kiwis, but we also need to acquire them. So that's a comparable almost the same with the business we do by ourselves.
Right. Just to sort of move on a little bit, just in terms of the consumption, what drives it. I mean, I guess health is a kiwi seen as a healthy fruit in China. I mean, is it?
Yes, definitely.
And I guess one COVID question. Has it actually? Have you seen an uptick in consumption during COVID? Because it's obviously rich in vitamin C.
Right. Well, kiwi is regarded as the king of vitamins.
Yeah.
So that's definitely the healthy fruit, and high-end fruit. Not unlike the apples and oranges, that production is so huge in China. So the prices of the apples and oranges are so low. So it's very hard, to make money out of this business for grow apples and oranges, even grapes. But the kiwi has a very premium price in the market for many years, for decades. Okay, and we believe that the price of the kiwi remain unchanged. Okay, in the next 5 or 10 years.
Right, very good. I mean, maybe we can now sort of talk a little bit about your distribution, because obviously that's very important, in China, and to have the right distribution infrastructure, especially for fresh produce, which I guess you need some chilled warehousing facilities and such like to preserve the fruit. Can you talk a little bit about the distribution that you have?
Yes. Distribution is very critical in China, especially for those fruit, because that need a cold chain. We call it the cold chain, the cold storage, logistics. Currently, the primary sales comes from the wholesalers, which means the wholesalers will do the most of the distribution work by themselves. On the other hand, we also have some existing distribution network. Directly, we can sell to this supermarket by ourselves, but we do not want to do them by ourselves, because the kiwi fruit only have 3 months or 4 months period of time to sell. Okay, if we want to do that retailing, that is very costly to do that, because you do not have other fruits. You do not have other kind of fruit on that shelf, so that's a kind of waste. So for the wholesaler, they have they purchase a lot from us directly, and they can sell that the kiwi in September, in October, or even in the next year's New Year season. But on the other time, on other like the January, February, they can sell the other fruits, and they can sell them. They can have some the grapes, they can have the oranges, they can have the lemonade, this kind of things. So for the wholesalers, it's very easy to handle this kind of things. But for Chibi Shenshan, because we only have kiwi, we do not have other fruits, so it's not effective for us. Okay, it's not a good way for us to do the retailing stuff and to do that the distribution stuff by ourselves. It's not economic.
Yeah, no, understood. I mean, is there an opportunity to expand your distribution network further within China? I mean, there are places which you've not reached yet. Is that something, another way in which you
yes, can expand? Right. If we want to do that distribution network by ourselves, we need to have more, more fruits. Not if we only to do kiwi fruit. Okay, it's not a good way, to do the distributions by ourselves, because that is costly. That's not good. It's not good. Yeah, we have some direct sales channels, but not that much. And other way to do that is that we have some e-commerce platform by ourselves. At when the harvest season, which normally happens in September, we have Jingdong.com online store. We have a Taobao online store. We can sell them by ourselves. That way we can do that direct sell.
Right, but what I was also asking is can you expand external distributors more and expand that way, or do you think you already have the geographical coverage you need? We won't expand that much in the distribution network in the future, because that is too costly. Yeah, no, it's too expensive to have. That's fair enough. That's fair enough. Obviously I mean, is packaging an important cost component? Because obviously you've got to look after the fruit. They can get damaged in transit and that kind of thing. And it obviously also leads on to what are the sort of main costs involved in the business?
The main cost.
Yeah, is packaging a very large portion of cost, or is it?
Right. The packaging for Kiwi is very critical in our business. Okay, if you cannot package your product well, you cannot sell them well. You can sell them, especially for the fruit. Okay, you have to take care of a lot of things. To try your best to maintain your quality of the kiwi and last a longer period of time. That kind of thing. I think the cost, the factor of the cost of the packing, I think 20% for the total cost.
Okay. And what would be the other major costs? I mean, things like fertilizer, is that important? And
Fertilizers,
labor cost.
Labor, okay, yes. The labor part is not that much for the cost part of view. I think that the infrastructure investment is our major cost, because every year you have to maintain your infrastructure at a very good high level. You have to maintain them every year, and yes, you also need to invest some of the fertilizers and some of the labor cost. If you want to see that kind of ratios, I think number one cost of our business is our infrastructure investment. That is pretty sure about that. And other costs can be the labor cost, because we need to pay the farmer, pay the employees the wages. That is also part of the cost. And the fertilizers and this kind of little thing also cost, and the packing, and we also have automatic assembling lines. You also need to maintain them well, and we also have cold storage, those kind of facilities. So this kind of cost come from the maintenance.
Right. So that's quite a big cost component. I mean, have you felt there's any sort of inflationary pressures from higher costs of fertilizer, or higher costs of packaging materials and that kind of thing, or not yet?
Not yet. We see those kind of there's a cost of factors. They remain stable.
Right.
Yeah, remain stable. So we can estimate our cost very easily, because every year is almost the same. So we can estimate our cost factors very precisely, and we can sell those our kiwi fruit very well every year. So we can estimate our revenues very precisely. So you see, the only way or the best way to have more revenues every year is just currently it's just to have more production value. Right.
Yeah, I mean,
so that is why we want to team up with that's why we want to use licensing models.
Yeah, no, that seems to make a lot of sense. I mean, I guess because it's obviously it is quite a seasonal business. There's not much you can do about that. I mean, that's right. I guess there are a few months of the year when you can't get kiwi fruit because it's just Right. I mean, just out of interest, I mean, is there much sort of wastage every year in terms of kiwi fruit that expire, or does that generally end up with the wholesaler?
Right. The waste. Yeah. If you want to do the fruit business, you have to face the fact that will be a waste. But the level of our waste is come to 5% of our total 5%. So that's okay or acceptable.
And I mean, is this a sort of slightly sideline question, but is there any opportunity to say produce other products like kiwi juice, which I think you can buy in supermarkets?
Yes, we sort of and discussed about this kind of strategy before, but you know what? In China, those kind of other fruits like the apples, oranges, the competition environment is so fierce. Okay, it's very, very hard. It's very, very hard to do kiwis and other fruits. So the best way to do that is just to maintain the things that we are good at.
Yes, well, I mean that makes sense, and obviously you do have a big advantage over it's quite a fragmented market, and
right.
I guess you can also compete very effectively against the imported products as well. No, that's very interesting, and how do you sort of another question here is what cities are the group targeting for kiwi fruit and sort of technology licensing? Is that
right?
Is there a city by city type of approach?
City. Well, we cannot talk about the cities because the kiwi plantation areas are always in the suburbs or some in the villages. So the best areas that we are looking at for the licensing business is also in Hubei province, and at the south of Henan province, that is another good locations for kiwi to grow. And there is some locations in Sichuan and Shanxi province, because they have existing kiwi plantation areas. We also can look at those kind of locations.
Yeah, well, no, very interesting. I've visited 2 of those provinces. It's always fascinating to hear what's happening. And Shaanxi and Sichuan are the 2 which I have visited.
Yes.
So, if your expansion, obviously, you're looking for relatively, aggressive expansion in a sense, and doubling your production over 5 years. And how will you go about financing that expansion plan?
Right, we have our profit by ourselves. We can use our existing profit to spend. That is one way to do that. And in China, there are a lot of governmental favorable policies to support this kind of things right now we are doing. So we estimate we can gain some local government support, and even to get some of the subsidies from the local government, to support our licensing models. They can finance some of the small household farmers to buy some necessary fertilizers, or to buy some machinery, those kind of tractors, those kind of things. They also have some very low interest, even zero interest loans, to those small household farmers, if they want to promote. If those small household farmers want to promote their agriculture business, those local farmers are ready to help them.
Right. Well, that provides you, I guess, with an additional tailwind and takes some of the cost element, out of the process. But I imagine from the local government's perspective, raising the livelihood of the local farmers is probably a very good thing. And I think
that's right.
Also it is a very good thing.
Right. Right. China's government right now are very supportive to agriculture business, because China's government realized that if China want to keep GDP growth, they have to invest a lot in agriculture business to allow those farmers to get richer, to have better income.
Right. No, I mean, I think that does make sense. And do you have a sort of ESG policy as such? I mean, obviously, a lot of the things you're doing have an ESG slant to them. If you're helping local farmers, that's a big positive. But because obviously, another question I was going to ask is related to sort of being organic. Not using too many fertilizers and so on. But I understand that's quite expensive to take that. That's
right.
It doesn't necessarily benefit you in a huge way either.
Right. I mentioned that we have nine orchards in different locations in Chibi, right? We have 9. Only two of the orchards are entitled to be organic. Okay, because if you want to be organic plantation areas, you have to meet a lot of standards, you know. And yeah, the price is very high. It's very good, but it's very hard. Not that easy. Not that easy to meet that standards.
Right, and I mean, is it more difficult to get the same yield, you know, from
right?
So I mean, you get a lower yield, and you know, you may not make the standards.
Exactly. And right. So So organic also have yeah, the price is good. The price is very good. However, you know, it's very hard to estimate. It's very hard to estimate the yields every year, because you know, you do know what kind of fruits can be entitled to be organic, and what kind of fruits can be that organic.
Right. Okay. Yeah, just going back a little bit to the licensing segment, just wondering, you know, obviously this is it's a relatively new strategy to license the local farmers, but yeah, it obviously may take time for that to manifest itself in production. So, I mean, are you still confident you can achieve, you know, steady rates of growth until that happens through your own sort of your own kiwi plantations? Do you provide any sort of guidance on the outlook for growth or not?
Of course, we'll provide our guidance for the farmers to grow our varieties, and not only for the guidance, and we also have this kind of we call that the technology output. We also need to tell them what kind of technology they have to know. Okay. And on the other hand, we want to sign long period of time contract with smallholder farmers, not 5 years, maybe 10 years or 20 years, you know, to let them ensure this kind of profit, this kind of things will come steadily. Okay, so we'll sign, yeah, at least a 10 years contract with smallholder farmers.
Right. I mean, I get that makes sense from both parties' perspective, I guess. So you've invested in them, and you know, they've committed to you for a long period of time. So yeah, that's because I mean, I suppose in the first 2 or 3 years, they're not getting any return on their. That's right.
Right.
So,
right.
That for them, obviously, I guess they won't plant all of their land with your varieties. They'll have other sources of income.
Right. Right.
I mean, just another question, which is, so sort of these smaller farmers. I mean, what kind of size would a small farm?
Well, right. That what depends. That what depends a lot. Some farmers have the 10 mu or 20 mu, or some or some of the villages, or they can form up a group of the villages. Then we'll have a bigger land, like the 200 mu or 300 mu maybe. So if that the individual household farmers, I think they won't have the 10 mu or 20 mu, that's the most. But if they form into a group of the villages, they'll have some 200 or 300 mu. That will be bigger one. Right.
Okay. So there's some opportunity, a lot of opportunity to expand reasonably quickly if these ventures. Some of the farms are quite big actually.
Right. Some farmers big, some are small.
Yeah. Well, I think we've covered a lot of ground, and we're sort of reaching the end of the time. Are there any sort of closing remarks you'd like to make on the outlook, or is there anything you would say specifically on ESG, for example, which is obviously a big focus for investors nowadays?
Well, I think right now that's the strategy. We call that the two-pronged strategies. The first of the thing that we will still focus on what we are doing right now. That is the thing we will keep doing, okay, in Chibi. And on the other hand, we are going to explore our licensing models year by year. That's the kind of that takes time to make sure to let the small household farmers have more confidence, for that. We have to let those farmers have some yields, have some gains, have some profit, and then they are willing to invest more, to have more land to do that. So I think that that's very critical for the first 2 or 3 years, to let the household farmers to have the confidence, over our business. That is the thing we are going to do.
Okay. Well, David, thank you very much. That's fascinating, and learned a lot about the world of the kiwi and everything else, which is fascinating, and looks like a very interesting long-term growth business. I'm now going to hand back over to Sanam and say thank you very much again.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Angus, for some very interesting questions. Also, big thanks to David and Raymond for detailed insight into China Shenshan Orchard, the challenges in the kiwi fruit industry, and opportunity for Shenshan. I would also like to thank our attendees who joined this session live and asked some very relevant questions. With this, I would like to wrap up this week's corporate webinar. Thank you again and have a great week ahead, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Bye-bye.